Back at it again for another day of local television. It is Wednesday, the 4th day of December 2019. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Dan Kuntz, your host. Going to throw this out here right now. 3 weeks to Christmas Day. Christmas Day is 3 weeks from today. I'm not ready. I never am, for whatever reason. It's just, you never can seem to get it all done that you're supposed to get done for Christmas. I will endeavor to improve on that. Lots going on today, lots of good stuff to talk about. It's overcast and 28 degrees outside of our studios. We had a very strange weather day again yesterday. It never really got going. The temperature was supposed to be in the mid-30s. We topped off at 30, and our low was 27. It happens. The temperature variation, almost nothing. 3 degrees between our low temperature and our high temperature on Tuesday. That could very well be the case right through the rest of the week. Forecast details are coming up. Could see a little bit of light freezing rain here in the Wenatchee Valley before this day is done. Forecast details are coming up. Plus, of course, we have your latest news headlines, sports, including a couple of cuts from my good buddy Arch Ecker, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. And Arch will be my guest in the second half of the program. The Wild have a Wednesday night game against their rivals. The Penticton Vees are in town tonight. Arch and I will talk Wild hockey from this very studio coming up in the back half of the hour, plus everything that you're used to on this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's not waste any more time. At 2 minutes after the hour, let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, the best we can do. I wanted to show this one first. This is from the roof of the Cascadian, looking down on Wenatchee Avenue between 1st and 2nd Street. The reason I brought that up is, according to the city of Wenatchee, they're going to close. In fact, it should be closed right now, but it doesn't seem to be closed. The northbound lane, they're apparently supposed to bring a big crane in to do some sort of construction work. But I just saw that Link bus go by, so maybe it's not closed. If the city of Wenatchee told us that they planned on closing the northbound lane of Wenatchee Avenue between 1st Street and 2nd Street until 9 o'clock this morning, looks okay to me. Okay, well, there you go. Anyway, there's a view from the roof of the Cascadian. In fact, I think we have another view from the roof of the Cascadian. We have a couple of cameras up there, and there we do. Yes, that's another view from the Cascadian. Looking to the east. On this Wednesday morning. Once again, this is the time of the year when we get that inversion layer, we get the low clouds and fog. We have to go by default to some of our lower cameras to get you what you want to see. I mean, nobody wants to just look at a gray fog bank all morning. We like to make something as visual as possible. Good morning to our friends in downtown Wenatchee and the Columbia River in the middle of your screen. Camera number 3, where are we off to, Megan? We are off to see, that looks to be Lake Chelan. What are we looking at? That's the Manson Water Tower. So I was partially right. That is Lake Chelan. That is pointing down the lake toward Chelan proper from what we call the Manson Water Tower camera. There's a couple of water towers within just a few hundred feet of each other in the foothills above Manson. And we have cameras actually on both of those, I believe. So it's looking down towards the bottom of the lake on this gray and cool morning. Sunrise is still not going to happen for about another hour. Sunrise this morning, 7:31. Sunset this afternoon at 4:11. 8 hours and 40 minutes of daylight today. Days are getting shorter. Camera 4. Or was that camera 4? Okay, there we go. The Apple Landing. Nope, that's Rock Island. She almost fooled me. Oh, that's a sad. Look at the golf course. It's covered in snow. That's a sad, sad sight, isn't it? Good morning to our friends in Rock Island. As you can see, it looks a little grainy because these cameras are designed to let in as much light as possible. It's actually not that bright right now around the Rock Island area, but we get what we can. And again, you can see plainly the Rock Island Golf Course. They will not be accepting tee times today. I'm going to go out on a limb there. So that's our view around north central Washington and the Wenatchee Valley with our Sky-Fi cameras, courtesy of Local-Tel. Of course, that means you can get super fast internet to your house, your cabin, or whatever it may be, and you don't need fiber. All you got to do is be able to see one of our many, many Sky-Fi dishes all over north central Washington, and you're in like Flynn. Give Local-Tel a call. All right, from Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they give your home a hug. What does the National Weather Service say we're looking at? Well, we're supposed to warm up. Supposed to. Like I said, it didn't happen yesterday. Our forecast high yesterday was 34. We only got to 30, and yesterday's low was only 27, so we just couldn't seem to bust out of that. We are supposed to get milder temperatures gradually, but we do have a slight chance, and I want to mention this, a slight chance of some freezing rain. It is possible, oh, there's Arch's lower third. It is possible that we could get some freezing rain before this day is over. There's your, there you go. So we're just right at that little section, that little cutout where we could get some light freezing rain. Certainly the odds increase as you go out towards the Columbia Basin. Also very poor visibility, we're told, on I-90 between Ritzville and Vantage. That happens. They got some clouds and some fog there settling down. I also understand very poor visibility on the Wenatchee Ridge, which is always an issue going between Ellensburg and Yakima. So heads up there, you're going to be dealing with some thick fog, but again, we could get some light freezing rain before this morning is over. Don't bet on it, but it's, you know, hey, anytime we talk about light freezing rain, we got to throw it out there. Remember that freezing precipitation really isn't detected very well by radar. It can be problematic because the rain's where it's warmer, the warm air is up above us, and of course then it passes through a layer of cold air, and that's when it freezes. So this is a slight chance of some freezing rain. Outside of that, lots of clouds today. And we'll top off at 34. Clouds tonight, 33 for the overnight low. Clouds Thursday, up to 36. We'll get patchy freezing fog forms each night throughout the course of this forecast period. Overnight low 33 on Thursday night, Friday. Could get a passing rain shower. No freezing rain because obviously with a high near 40 on Friday. Just a little too warm. The snow level is going to be about 4,000 feet, so don't worry about that. As far as the weekend is concerned, Saturday, lots of clouds and a high of 43. Sunday, kind of a mixed bag. We'll have patchy fog and low clouds in the morning. Eventually, it'll burn off. We'll have some sunshine on Sunday afternoon and then quite a bit of sunshine on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Typical December weather. All right, let's take you up to the major mountain passes where things are looking good. There are no advisories nor restrictions. In fact, for the major mountain passes, it's 28 degrees down here in the valley floor. It's 38 degrees. Or near 40 for most of the mountain passes. That's a live shot of I-90. No advisories, no restrictions. It is raining on I-90. The roadway is bare and wet. No problems at all on Stevens Pass. Again, they're getting some light rain. Stevens Pass is 10 degrees warmer than it is here. So you don't have any problems at all. They were hoping to get the Stevens Pass ski resort open, but they're not getting any snow. The snow is going to be way up in the upper elevations, the higher runs down at the parking lot at the summit of Stevens Pass. It is raining right now. No advisories, no restrictions, and it's off to Blewett, where again, no advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and wet. It's 40 degrees at the summit of Blewett Pass. They're getting some light rain. So no advisories, no restrictions, just rain coming down, either light rain or a little bit heavier rain at times on I-90. Outside of that, no advisories, no restrictions, and no snow at all in the forecast today for the Cascades. It is 8 minutes after the hour. We are going to take a break and come back with your Wednesday morning headlines. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
Winter is here, and CVCH wants to give your child a free sled to help them stay active. This January, plan to join us for a free event for the whole family. Free sleds, hot chocolate, and fun. For complete details, visit the CVCH Facebook page or check us out at cvchchillout.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Heinlein, independent agent and owner at Springwater Insurance Group here in North Central Washington. And one of the things we enjoy doing is teaching people how to find the right Part D drug plan. And you know, if you went into a shoe shop and they just sat you down and handed you a pair of shoes, that'd be confusing. You'd want them to measure. Well, we take a measurement at Springwater Insurance Group. We ask you 4 questions. What's the name, the dose, the frequency, and the pharmacy for your medications? This allows us to measure and get the right fit for 2020. Give us a call at Springwater Insurance Group for the right fit for your drug plan at 888-2600.
We're back at 10 minutes after the hour, overcast and 28 degrees outside of a light raindrop here or there. We're going to be dealing just with overcast conditions. Highs will be in the mid-30s, climbing up to near 40. No sunshine at all until we get to Sunday afternoon. And here's what's making headlines on this Wednesday. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office is going to rejoin the Columbia River Drug Task Force. This is 15 years after they dropped out of the task force because, well, they didn't have any money. Sheriff Kevin Morris announcing yesterday the Douglas County Board of Commissioners has authorized the $100,000 that was needed to hire 1 new deputy and assign another deputy to the task force full-time.
I cannot afford to lose any boots off the ground. So the only way I could assign somebody to the task force was to have a new position to fill that vacancy. The new person will not be assigned to the task force. That new person is going to go through the academy, go through the training, field training, and then replace or fill the hole that whoever we determine will be assigned to the task force. We have not determined that yet. There's an internal process. We will put it out. Any deputies that we currently have employed, they'll have to have a minimum of 3 years, I believe, by policy, because it is a detective position, and then we will assign them to the task force when their replacement is ready to fill their shift.
Douglas County dropped out of the task force back in 2005 after funding cuts. Today, members of the task force comes from the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, the Wenatchee Police Department, the East Wenatchee Police Department, and the Washington State Patrol. Morris says it could be the better part of a year, however, before the new deputy is ready to go into the field. Well, the man accused of making online death threats against Washington sheriffs will not face jail time for violating his conditions of release. 23-year-old Jaden Ledford, you see him there, he's scheduled for federal trial in March for allegedly threatening Spokane County Sheriff Ozzie Kanetovich and others over their opposition to the Washington gun law, I-1639. Now, he's allowed to remain out of custody until then, but federal court supervisors say Ledford used a smartphone in November to access the internet, and that violated the judge's order. Court marshals seized the phone, but the judge ruled last week that Ledford will not be penalized. Well, Chelan County Fire District 1 will once again employ a herd of goats to help reduce wildfire fuels in the Wenatchee area. The goats were used this past spring to forage shrubs and grass along that steep slope below the Broadview subdivision. That's the area from the 2017 Sleepy Hollow fire. Chief Brian Brett says the project was so successful that they plan to do it again next year.
The goats have been utilized elsewhere, and we got the idea from Hillary Hurd, who was with the Department of Natural Resources, who is now with us. She had experience using them down in California in flood mitigation zones. And we were like, well, why not bring them into Broadview? That topography is really steep and thick vegetation. We couldn't use mechanized machinery. We have 3 wildland seasonal employees, and the labor was way too intensive for them to make any progress. But the goats just knocked it down.
What do you see as the future for the use of goats?
We intend to identify areas we can use them again throughout the area. We'll use labor for fuel reduction, goats, mechanized equipment, whatever it takes. We want to create a fire protection line of some sort around the wildland urban interface of the fire district. And if goats are the right tool, we want to use the goats.
Do you have any locations where you want to use the goats this next spring?
Currently, we're looking at the Jennings area. It's a fire-wise community, pretty heavily dense sagebrush along there. As we look at the western perimeter of the city limits of Wenatchee, where the actual wildland urban interface line impacts the structures, is the areas we're looking at currently.
Okay.
Anybody interested in applying for one of the 2 openings of the Wenatchee School Board? There's some deadlines you got to think about. The big one, 4 o'clock on January 6th. That's the big deadline. Of course, the seats are open after board member Sarah Knox resigned to take a job in the Seattle area, and Tim Larson, who won election to a seat a month ago, said he's moving out of the district and he can't serve. The board intends to review the applications January 6th at an open meeting. They're going to identify the candidates to interview and then make the selections at their regular January 14th meeting. Applications are available online at wenatcheeschools.org, or you can pick them up at the district offices. The persons selected will serve 2 years, and that's when the seats will go up for election. Well, the popularity of Leavenworth's Christmas Lighting Festival is often made for gridlock driving in and out of the Bavarian-themed town for all 3 weekends in December. Motorists have complained of spending an hour or more just getting from the Big Y Junction to downtown Leavenworth. Well, the festival starts Friday, and state, county, and city officials are already gearing up. In addition to advising patients, the traffic lights are going to be shut off starting at 1 o'clock in Leavenworth, and they're going to have traffic flaggers brought in. Now, the city reported some success with that approach last year, but it's still going to be slow going. So prepare to enjoy the holiday shows Friday and Saturday for the next 3 weekends, but of course, give yourself extra travel time. Finally, this morning, the Chelan Douglas Community Action Council held its first event of the fundraising series, Empty Bowls. The event benefits the NCW Food Distribution Center. It's a pivotal player in stocking up local food pantries here in the Wenatchee Valley. Our very own Caitlin Heddersheet filed this report.
On Sunday afternoon, the local Events Center was buzzing with creativity, and for a good cause.
I'm Robin Moser, and I'm an AmeriCorps member through the Chelan Douglas Community Action Council. And the Empty Bowls Wenatchee is an annual fundraiser that benefits the Food Distribution Center. Money's tight for a lot of people, and a lot of people have to spend way too many hours working to try to pay the bills, which means that if you do earn enough money, but you're working long hours, you don't have very much time at home to prepare healthy meals, and you end up eating a lot of convenience foods, which are not that healthy, and we're very concerned about that. So it's a juggle, you know, trying to decide where to put your money.
The NCW Food Distribution Center, the beneficiary of the annual Empty Bowls events, is a central part of the food pantry system in the Wenatchee Valley.
So we are like the central place for the government food that comes into us, as well as the grocery rescue from our local stores. It comes in there first, gets staged and boxed up, and then sent out to the pantries as their needs are determined. And last year, with Empty Bowls funds, we purchased some shelving. So we have a warehouse, but prior to 2019, all of the food was stored on pallets on the floor, which meant that it really restricted how much food you could take in. So with the purchase of the shelving from last year's funds, we can now fit twice as many in there. And we do want to be able to bring in enough money this year to help us towards getting a refrigerated truck, so that when summer comes, we can still take frozen and refrigerated stuff out to the food pantries without worry about it spoiling.
This winter season, Robin says whether it's coming out to paint a bowl, donating food, or maybe your time in volunteering, it's important to consider those impacted by food insecurity.
You may even not even think of yourself as poor, but our society has a lot of demands on our financial resources. And it's very tricky to try to spread our money around the things that we need and then still have some for the few wants.
Inspiration's Ceramic and Art Cafe helps supply the bowls and paints for the event, supporting the mission of raising awareness and taking action. There are 2 more Empty Bowls events at Pybus this winter season, both from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. on January 19th and February 16th. Participants in the event are invited to a community soup and bread meal at the Wenatchee High School on March 14th, where they can pick up their painted bowls. Stay tuned to the NCW Life magazine as we take a look inside the operations at the NCW Food Distribution Center and its impact valley-wide. Caitlin Heddersheet, NCW Life News.
Thank you for that report, Kat. We appreciate it. That's what's making headlines on this Wednesday morning. Once again, the crew will be gathering and disseminating all the stories that we think you need to be in the loop about. It's the Evening News with Grant Olson with a preview. Here's the man himself.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, Chelan County Fire District 1 Chief Brian Bratt says the agency is moving forward with plans to add a second firefighting helicopter to its fleet. The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society has lifted the no adoption order on cats housed at their facility. And I'll have your mild and a little bit wet North Central Washington weather forecast. Eric Cranston will be in with all of the day's sports action. All of that and much more coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News at 5, 6, and 10. We hope you'll join us then. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. Don't forget our news is also available to you to watch online whenever you want to. We get the news up and running right about 5 o'clock. So if you prefer to use your tablet or your computer or your smartphone or whatever, you can consume and watch our newscast on your smart device or your smart TV via the World Wide Web, and you can do that right around 5 o'clock each Monday through Friday. Or again, as Grant mentioned, it's also on television, or as we like to say in the business, TV, at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. And at the bottom of your screen are all the ways you can get a hold of us. I prefer the email. Is that right? The email? News at ncwlife.com is a great way to get a hold of us. Send it, drop us a line, news at ncwlife.com. If you go to our website, you can click on the Contact Us icon, fill out the form. We get that here as well. If you want to give us a call, the number's at the bottom of your screen, or you can go to our Facebook page and drop us a line that way via Facebook Messenger. 28 degrees, overcast outside of our studios here in downtown Wenatchee. When we come back, we got sports, the obscure holiday, today in history, some celebrity birthdays. Everybody is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion, and my conversation with the voice of the Wenatchee Wild Arch Ecker. It's a busy Wednesday. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Eric Grandstrom with the NCW Life channel.
And I'm Brent Rhodes with Country 104.7 KKRV.
The Les Schwab Community Toy Drive is back.
Look for a drop box at sponsor locations and donate a new toy that goes directly to a deserving child in the Wenatchee Valley this Christmas.
We're especially in need of toys and gifts for teenagers.
There are several hundred teens in our valley that could use your help.
Please give the gift of a new toy at Christmas.
It's the Les Schwab Community Toy Drive. Thank you.
Local breweries are on a row in Wenatchee. Brewers Row, that is. Start with Wenatchee Valley Brewing Company near Riverside 9 Apartments. Continue south down Riverside Drive to Columbia Valley Brewing. Then it's off to Badger Mountain Brewing on the corner of Arrondo and Columbia Streets. Further south on Columbia is 509 Beer Works. Each has its own charm, unique menu, and some of the best locally made brew around. Find it all on Brewers Row along the waterfront in downtown Wenatchee.
Welcome back. 22 minutes after the hour on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Dan Kuntz. Let's do sports. One day after announcing he was stepping down as the head football coach at the University of Washington, Chris Peterson held a press conference yesterday to shed a little bit more light on his decision. And basically what Coach Pete said is, hey, it's time to move on.
You know, there's a quote that I heard a while ago in the fall sometime. I think it was one of those Eastern philosophers or something that said, you know, a man has two lives to live, and the second one begins when he realizes he only has one. And that thing was been ringing in my ears loud and clear. And so for personally, I felt it was time for a change. And then I really felt, you know, it was in our program, it was time for a change. That I think the foundation is really good and really solid. But I just, you can feel like it just needs a little new direction and a boost of energy. And, you know, it doesn't need to be blown up, but it does need to be tweaked and changed. And so this thing for me has worked out better than planned, because I don't know if I had a plan. But if I could script it this way, where one of our guys and, you know, Jimmy to take over, it couldn't be better.
Defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake was introduced as the new head coach yesterday. He says he's just going to take the torch that's been passed to him from Coach Peterson.
I'm very thankful I was able to work with this man for 8 years, and I know the recipe. I've seen the recipe, and I'm going to copy the recipe. An unbelievable foundation has been laid. The Built for Life program will continue in his legacy here while I'm at the University of Washington. The uncommon unity that is all the way throughout our building will continue. You know, I've coached for a number of different teams at the pro level and college level, and I've never been on any tighter team than a Chris Peterson coached football team. And so now, here we go. I'm the head football coach. And for the guys that know me, I am in a very aggressive attack mode type personality. And that's where we're going to take this thing. Coaching the defensive backs, coaching the defense, I always want to be aggressive. I always want to be on attack mode. And that is going to be bled all the way through now into our offense and into our special teams, but also how our students will attack their academics.
Peterson's going to stay with the football program through their upcoming bowl game. Then he goes into a leadership role in the Husky athletic department. The Wenatchee Wild wrap up their 4-game homestand tonight. The Penticton Vees are in town. They are the leaders of the Interior Division of the British Columbia Hockey League. They got 47 points with a record of 23-8-1. Wenatchee's in 4th place. They have 34 points with a record of 15-12-3-1. Tonight's game marks the return of Sam Morton. Sam was a part of the Wild team that won the Fred Page Cup a couple of years ago. The voice of the Wenatchee Wild, my friend Arch Ecker, explains why Morton is back.
He ended up going off to college. Well, he's decided to move on to a different school. He was at Union College for the last year and a half, and but NCAA rules being what they are, you can't just transfer directly and play, from one school to another.
You got to sit down for a little bit.
Yeah, so he still has junior eligibility left. So to stay sharp and prepare for the coming season, he's coming back to Wenatchee, and so. That's something we're very much looking forward to. And for Sam, a bit of a homecoming. He gets to slip right back into his own billet house and right back into a community that is very responsive to him, and likewise. So should be fun.
Arch says the rivalry between Wenatchee and Penticton is more geography related than anything else, but he says there's been a very healthy respect between these two clubs.
And again, the first couple of years we only saw each other twice a year because of not being in the same division. Now that we are in the same division, we see each other 6 times a year, and this year 7 because we faced them in the showcase tournament. So, familiarity breeds contempt is one of the phrases they use. And, we haven't seen Penticton in the playoffs yet. And that's another thing that will really kind of kickstart a rivalry a little bit. Some of the animosity that we've had with, Merritt, West Kelowna, whatever, those weren't really there so much until we saw them in the playoffs, and then that sort of festered and it grows from there a bit. So, one day there's going to be a Wenatchee versus Penticton playoff series.
I can't wait.
That's going to be appointment television. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, they're a highly skilled team. There's no question, and we enjoy playing against them. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight.
It will be a lot of fun. They'll drop the puck at 6 o'clock tonight, and my complete conversation with my good friend Arch will air in the second half of this award-winning program. All right, prep basketball. Let's check the Les Schwab scoreboard from action from last night. The only girls' score that we got was Wenatchee falling on the road to Meade, 66-29. And boys basketball, Meade topped Wenatchee 61-45. Ephrata over Cashmere, 50-34. And Cascade edged Quincy, 42-41. Girls bowling. Yesterday afternoon, it was a day of sweeps in the Big Nine. Eastmont sweeping Moses Lake 4-zip. Ike topping West Valley and Davis. Shut out Sunnyside 4-0. The Wildcats improved to 2-2 on the year with the win. The Chiefs fall to 2-1. By the way, coming up later on today, Eastmont will host Davis at Eastmont Plains this afternoon at 2 o'clock. And those were just some of the games that people are playing on this Wednesday at 29 minutes after the hour. The obscure holiday of the day today, cookies. C is for cookie. Yes, it's National Cookie Day. Everybody loves cookies. Nobody knows who invented National Cookie Day. The fact that it's around the holidays might play a small role there, but we do know where cookies came from. Cookies were invented back in the 7th century in Persia, which, ironically enough, was right around the time that sugar became more widely available and was a common resource in the region. Then it spread throughout Europe. Basically, it spread to the west, all the way to Spain. And then, of course, it became the snack food in Europe by the time the 15th century came around. And then it hopped over the Atlantic and over here to good old-fashioned America. If you have anybody with Dutch ancestry, you want to thank them because it was the Dutch settlers in the New World who brought cookie recipes with them. And now, of course, cookies are everywhere. There are thousands of different cookie recipes. Cookies are fine. Store-bought cookies are fine. Homemade cookies are the way to go. Everybody loves cookies. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. National Cookie Day. I eat too many over the holidays. All right, let's do Today in History. Happy birthday to the Grange. It was December 4th, 1867. 152 years ago, he was a Minnesota farmer. His name was Oliver Hudson Kelly, and he founded a brand new organization. It was called the Orders of the Patrons of Husbandry, later known as the National Grange of the Orders of the Patrons of Husbandry, and then they just finally shortened it to the Grange. It's a lot easier to put on a letterhead. Grange membership, as you might imagine, has declined a lot in the last 100 years or so. Of course, you got to remember, at the turn of the last century, about a third of all people living in the United States were farmers, and now it's about less than 2% of people who live in this country are actually farming for a living. The number of people who are members of the Grange has been sliced in half since about 1992, but Washington State has the largest membership of any Grange in any state. There's about 13,000 members of various Grange organizations in our state. Happy birthday to the Grange. 65 years ago today, the very first Burger King opened in Miami, Florida. Burger King. Burger King has 17,796 outlets in 100 countries. About half of those are located in the United States. Burger King is the second largest hamburger fast food chain in the world, behind the behemoth that is McDonald's. It's the fourth largest fast food chain of any kind, behind, of course, McDonald's. And then the Yum brands. Yum owns KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. And then you have Subway as well. So they do all right. They do all right. Happy birthday to Burger King. The very first one opened in Miami. And of course, their big thing was flame broiled, not fried, and they still do it. Happy 65th birthday to Burger King. 63 years ago today, the $1 Million Quartet got together. It was supposed to be a recording session for Carl Perkins at Sun Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. Jerry Lee Lewis was essentially an unknown, but they brought in Jerry Lee Lewis to play on a new Carl Perkins record that they were making. Elvis Presley and his girlfriend dropped by. You see his girlfriend there, Marilyn Evans, his girlfriend at the time. Elvis was just dropping by. Elvis was by this time becoming a big superstar, a big name in the world of music. And then Johnny Cash dropped by. And so Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis and Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins got together and did a little jam session. And for the first and only time, the $1 Million Quartet got together 63 years ago today. It's a fascinating recording. I have a couple of copies of it. I dig it out every once in a while because it never happened before and it will never happen again. And finally, 28 years ago today, the behemoth that was Pan Am went away. Pan Am ceased operations after 64 years of flying people from the United States to all over the world. Now remember, if you flew overseas for that 64 years, you flew on Pan Am. Pan Am had that route. All the overseas routes from the United States to another country was Pan Am. And Pan Am was the best of the best of the best. They hired and paid the best pilots. All of their stewardesses were required to be bilingual. So, for instance, if you flew from New York City to, say, Brazil, the flight attendants had to speak Portuguese. They were highly well paid. They did everything first class. Their meals were considered by far the best of any airline food. And yet Pan Am couldn't make it. Pan Am, which at one time was considered the best airline in the world, shut their doors 28 years ago today. They just couldn't adapt. Celebrity birthdays. Yeah, Jethro Bodine. Yeah, the dim-witted son of Jed Clampett. Max Baer Jr. is 82 years old. Of course, he'll always be known as Jed Clampett's nephew, Jethro, on the Beverly Hillbillies. He is the last surviving cast member. After the Beverly Hillbillies was canceled in the early 1970s, Max Baer Jr. couldn't find work. He was typecast as a big, strong, dumb guy, so he decided instead of being in front of the camera, he'll get behind the camera. Became a very successful writer and producer and a real estate developer. He's done very, very well for himself, and he said, okay, I got typecast. I couldn't get another acting job. I'll go to the other side of the camera. I'll do just fine. And he has done just fine. Max Baer Jr. is 82 years old today. And Jeff Bridges is 70. Of course, he won the Academy Award for Best Actor in Crazy Heart, The Last Picture Show, a great movie. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. You can't forget about True Grit. Starman, great movie, Starman. The Big Lebowski, Seabiscuit. Jeff Bridges, one of the famous Bridges brothers, is 70 years old today. All right, 34 minutes after the hour. Before we take a break and get Mike McNalty's opinion, a reminder about the Les Schwab Community Toy Drive. It is underway. Those are the nonprofit organizations that help our local kids. They're going to get all the toys, including Serve Wenatchee Valley and the Children's Home Society, Transitional Housing and CASA Cashmere Cares, and Sage. But of course, we need toys. Go around, pick up your new unwrapped toy, drop them off at any of our sponsor locations. We got a bunch of them. The Hunter Golf Course, our friends at Country 104.7, KKRVs, Sangster Motors, Hooked on Toys, Works, Walmart, us. Bring them by the studios here, Cashmere Valley Bank, Valley Tractor, and super duper special thanks to our friends at Les Schwab. It's back again for the third big year of the Les Schwab Community Toy Drive, and we're very happy to be a part of it. We hope you participate. We really do. Mike McKnight's opinion is coming up. Then my conversation with Arch Ecker, the voice of the Wenatchee Wild. You're watching a Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Aaron Lindholm, the Executive Director at Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista in Wenatchee, gives us an overview of the campus and the services they offer.
So Colonial Vista was built back in 1968. So the great thing about our product here in Wenatchee is we really do have a continuum of care from independent living to assisted living, long-term care, rehab, and so we're really able to take care of our residents right here on campus. And we look at this as our residents' home, and we're honored to serve them in their home each and every day.
Call today for your tour.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, the Christmas season is great, and I love it. I mean, celebrating Jesus' birthday with family, giving gifts, prime rib roast. I mean, what's not to like? And even the sappy Christmas music is great, too. I mean, I have to admit it. It sets the mood, and it gives a nice undercurrent to the whole Christmas experience. But not before Thanksgiving, okay? Jeez, recently, seriously. I was recently in a coffee shop 2 weeks before Turkey Day, and I had to listen to Bing Crosby moaning about ruining my life with snow. Oh, God. I mean, Christmas is great. Honestly, people, part of the reason Christmas is so special is because it only comes once a year. Knowing the nature of some people to overindulge, if we don't crack down on this thing, we're going to be hearing about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty sometimes in August. Have some restraint. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
The Performing Arts Center.
The mountain bike trails.
When I ride the Loop Trail, we've all been lifted by the giving generosity of our community.
I think philanthropy is everywhere.
I'm just overwhelmed with gratefulness.
There is such a legacy of giving in this community.
And that's a direct impact on my quality of life.
And we have the duty to kind of do the same thing for our future generations.
Hi, Steve Nelson here, owner of Nelson Motorsports here in Wenatchee. We have a ton of winter specials going on. We have kids ATVs starting at $7.99 that come with throttle limiters and remote stop and start for child safety. If you're tired of pushing snow, we also have snow blowers for $3.99. All of our products come with a 6-month warranty, and we have a full service shop for all your motorsports needs. Stop by and check out all of our products. We provide family fun at affordable prices.
We're back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's cloudy, it's misty, it's cold, it's hockey weather. And the Wenatchee Wild have a rare Wednesday night game tonight. 6:05, they'll drop the puck. Their rivals.
Actually, 6 o'clock straight up.
Straight up, okay.
Straight up 6.
Okay, straight up 6 o'clock. The Penticton Vees are in town. The team we love. We'd like to beat them all, but Penticton is a little bit more than the others, making his very first appearance on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Is the voice of the Wenatchee Wild, my good friend Arch Ecker.
So glad to be here for the first time ever.
Yeah, it's good to see you, my friend.
It's always good to see you. It's worth getting up early for.
It isn't, though. Let's jump right into it. First of all, the big news about Sam. Sam is back in the fold. Sam Morton.
Sam Morton.
You got him back.
Just flew in yesterday.
Okay,
actually.
so his arms are going to be tired.
They are, well, actually, just the one arm's tired because the other arm's bionic now.
A little bit about Sam. He was part of the team that won Freddie, the Fred Page Cup, a couple of years ago. Went off to college. Still is going to go back off to college. How do we get him back? Talk about the whole, because this is exciting news for Wild fans to get Sam back in the fold.
It really is. So back in the 2016-17 season, Sam was here. It was his first year, and he was one of the. He was just one of the young bunch. It was him, Lucas Souter, and Jasper Weatherby, and those three, they were touted to be the up-and-coming bunch, right? I mean, that team was loaded. You go back when we had Charlie Combs, Brendan Harris, all those guys tearing it up. And those guys, the guys I'm talking about with Weatherby and Souter and Morton, they just paid their dues. They just kept grinding and learned the ways. And, of course, the buzzword these days is, this is the way. Well, it was the way for Sam, for sure. And he grew just like the rest of them. And he ended up going off to college. Well, he's decided to move on to a different school. He was at Union College for the last year and a half, and but NCAA rules being what they are, you can't just transfer directly and play, from one school to another.
You got to sit down for a little bit.
Yeah, so he still has junior eligibility left. So to stay sharp and prepare for the coming season, he's coming back to Wenatchee, and so that's something we're very much looking forward to. And for Sam, a bit of a homecoming. He gets to slip right back into his old billet house and right back into a community that is very responsive to him, and likewise, so should be fun.
And of course, he's been there and done that, so he brings that experience and that moxie with him. He can tell the other guys in the locker room, I know what it takes to go all the way and bring Freddie back to the big city.
Well, that's true, and there are a couple others in the locker room that share that experience with him. Matt Dorsey and Drake Usher, both were part of that Fred Page Cup championship team, but Sammy joining the ranks. When he left, he was a 30-goal scorer, and you don't get worse. You get better, and he's picked up from his collegiate experience, and he'll bring some of that with him. And I'm sure he's going to walk just a little bit taller than he did when he was here last time. And when he left, he was a great hockey player, and we're expecting really good things from him. Not to put a lot of pressure on him. We want him to have fun, and the reason he's here is he wants to continue to grow. When he makes his next collegiate step and joins his new school, whichever one, and I don't know which school that is, but wherever he's going, he wants it to be in a positive direction, and he believes that being here in Wenatchee will help him achieve that. And with the coaching triumvirate that we have here, there's no doubt it will help him grow.
Is he going to slide right in there with Nick Affarelli and Brian Adams and the crew and just start lighting up the back of the net, or?
Well, you never know. I mean, you would expect that, different players bring different aspects to the game. Some guys are grinders. They work hard in the corners. Some guys are your energy guys on the fourth line. And some guys bury the puck. And in the past, he's proven that he has the touch for that. So where that fits in the overall fabric of this year's club and how the coaches will choose to utilize him, and also not only for ways that benefit the team, but that benefit his personal growth as well. Hey, we'll see. I mean, I would expect he's going to put the puck in the net because, it's something that hockey players either have or don't have. I mean, you could teach guys a lot of stuff, but that nose for the net, that comes from inside. You've either got it or you don't.
You mentioned the coaching consistency, which is terribly important in the world of junior hockey, isn't it? Knowing that Bliss and Clark and these guys have been there and are not going anywhere when it comes to bringing players on board.
Well, yeah, that's certainly true, and it's important to all the players. And when players choose to play out their junior careers here in Wenatchee, that's a big piece of the pie for sure. But you hear it talked about in the NFL, and it's kind of the same thing. You talk about terminology and language and culture. And for Wenatchee to be able to maintain a consistent culture and a consistent way of verbalizing things and setting goals and accomplishing things, that goes a long way, because otherwise you could be walking into the same city, same fans, same billets, but if all of a sudden you're having to learn different systems or different philosophies even, because those philosophies can change from coach to coach. You know, that can be like completely, all of a sudden find yourself in Europe and driving on the other side of the road. I mean, it looks the same, but it's completely different.
Over the weekend, it was kind of a weird deal. Nanaimo just came in and just hammered the Wenatchee Wild 7-1, but they turned right around on Saturday and they won 3-2. So what changed between Friday and Saturday from getting their clocks clean to squeaking by in a very important game?
We scored more goals than the other team.
Yeah, thanks, Art.
Yeah. You know what? And this comes from associate head coach Lee Mendelson in the post-game interview after the Nanaimo game. In his words, he said, "You know what? One team showed up to play tonight, and the other one didn't." And you know what? It happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as much effort as goes into trying to get teams prepared and whatnot, and you can do all you want, but some nights it's just going to happen where it's just not there somehow. And I think everyone kind of ends up looking at the other guy to try to, you know, find the spark, and it just doesn't happen. You know, and it can snowball in a hurry.
But it didn't. They came right back and won on Saturday.
Well, it snowballed that night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
When some teams just they
Nanaimo
can't
scored
miss.
in the first minute, right?
Yeah.
And then they scored one at the buzzer, which fans were kind of like, but you know, we watched the video and it was a good goal. The puck crossed the line with like 0.2 of a second left, so it was legit. They don't have video review in our league, but they made the right call. So hats off to them. It's a difficult call to make, but they got it right. But the Wild went in the locker room. They were down 4-0. You know, as I said in the broadcast before, you say Bob's your uncle, right? Do you have an Uncle Bob?
No.
Do you have an Uncle Mike?
I don't have any uncles.
I think everybody has an Uncle Mike. Almost everybody. Anybody who has an uncle. Right. I have an Uncle Mike.
Yeah.
I think Uncle Mikes are ubiquitous. Everybody's got one. If that's the right word.
Can you say ubiquitous on TV?
I did.
You just
I've got a card, though. I'm allowed to use multiple syllabic words.
Penticton's Penticton. The Vees are in town. They started out, I think they won 17 of the first 18 games. It was just out of control. They've cooled off since then, but they're still, you know, on top of the interior division. You want to beat the teams in your division. It was more than any other. That's terribly important when you make the playoff.
Sure. You know, it's you know, this is a tough division, and that's why we wanted to be in it. You know, when we joined the BCHL, as you recall, we were in the mainline division for a couple of years, and we wanted to be in the interior, and we've got it now.
Yeah.
But boy, I'll tell you, it's you know, and it's fun. You know, Penticton has been a rivalry based really solely on geography for the most part. There's really been not a lot of bad blood between the two franchises. We get along quite well. I think both teams, you know, they have similar structures and they have similar leadership. Fred Harbinson is a guy that's been in the game a long time, just like Bliss. I mean, they're pretty neck and neck. They've both got extensive successes and experiences. Their approaches are somewhat similar. So you got well-disciplined teams, well-structured teams. They go head-to-head, and it seems like it's always been about, you know, some mutual respect. I mean, the battles have gone back and forth. You know, we've played 20 times. 9-9-2 is our record against them. So
it's as close as you get.
Yeah, I mean, it's close. But, you know, it's starting, you know, and again, the first couple of years, we only saw each other twice a year because of not being in the same division. Now that we are in the same division, we see each other 6 times a year, and this year 7 because we faced them in the showcase tournament. So, you know, familiarity breeds contempt is one of the phrases they use. And, you know, we haven't seen Penticton in the playoffs yet. And that's another thing that will really kind of kickstart a rivalry a little bit. You know, some of the animosity that we've had with, you know, Merritt, West Kelowna, whatever, those weren't really there so much until we saw them in the playoffs. And then that sort of festered and it grows from there a bit. So, you know, one day there's going to be a Wenatchee versus Penticton playoff series.
I can't wait
that's
for
going to
that.
be appointment television. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, they're a highly skilled team. There's no question, and we enjoy playing against them. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight.
Well, and their two franchises are terribly successful. They know how to win because they won the big thing. They won the big prize.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned discipline once again this year. The Wenatchee Wild are near the bottom of the league in a good way in penalty minutes.
Right.
We don't get a lot of. Yeah, there are some scruffs. Yeah, we know, we understand that it's part of the game, once again, the Wenatchee Wild, as far as penalty minutes are concerned, are near the bottom of the league again, and that goes to discipline, doesn't it?
Well, it does. You know, self and team discipline both, and you know, it's something that the coaches really they talk about a lot, and it's good to keep it front of mind because you know it's easy to get wrapped up in the emotion of a game because hockey it's a fast game, obviously, but it's very much a passion-filled, emotional kind of game. You know, you start throwing some hits around out there, and you know, all of a sudden the blood gets to boiling a little bit, and things are moving quick, and your buddy gets checked, and you know, then you're like, I'm going to get that guy, and he hacks you when nobody's looking and gets away with it, and you know, and things can start to boil in a hurry. But you know what? It's so many times. I mean, we see it across sports. You know, it's the retaliation that gets penalized more than anything else. And so, you know, they tell the guys, you know what? I mean, you just got to take it, and you know, you find other ways to, you know, to retaliate, and basically putting the puck in the back of the net's a darn good one.
And there are teams who do that, and we've seen it. I've watched plenty of Wenatchee Wild games to tell you there are teams who are going to try and goad you in to fighting, especially if you're like a really good player, if you're a standout player for any team. I'm not talking about the Wild. You see it. You see it more often than I'd like to. They're obviously targeting this forward or this center to get him out of his game physically by trying to get him into a scruff, get him into the penalty box, get him off the ice that way. Bugs me, quite frankly. I don't like it.
Well, you know what?
I know it's part of the game,
right.
but I still don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. You know, and the hard part is, you know, when you can see it coming because you know, the team you're playing against, maybe they're at the bottom of the standings. They got some guys that aren't so skilled, and they're going to do whatever they can to knock you off your game. And so they'll do things like, you know, take a run at your goalie or go after your top scorer to try to, you know, even if they don't go after him to hurt him, but if they can goad him into taking a penalty, you know, taking a punch back, takes him off the ice for a couple of minutes, things like that, and it's just, you just roll your eyes and you think, you know, I could have told you this was going to happen 5 hours ago. How come the refs don't see it? And I don't know. It's, you know, but, you know, hey, guess what? It's passionate for us, too, as staff. Sometimes we're watching, we're going, oh, my goodness, you know, and our hearts get elevated. So, you know, you understand what kind of emotions the players are dealing with as they live through it out there on the ice.
You ready to do some singing? You ready?
Sure. Buck a beer and dollar dogs, doo-dah, doo-dah. That is the promotion for tonight, see? It's Buck a Beer and Dollar Dog, so it's a very creatively named tune. Dollar beers, Rolling Rock beers, and Pepsi products and hot dogs. They're all just $1 from when the doors open until the end of the first intermission. And because it's a 6 o'clock game tonight, doors open at 5, 4:45 for their season ticket holders. And so you can come in and get those goodies and load your pockets. I don't know what you want to load your pockets with a tap beer, but I mean, it depends on your pockets, man. You got one of those Scotty vests or whatever, I guess you can do it. But
and by the way, if you haven't done your Christmas shopping yet, the Wenatchee Wild have a holiday tickets package of different values and stuff for the hockey lover out there.
They are great gifts. They do
really
fit
good
pretty
gifts.
much any size stocking for sure. And all the info on that is on our website at WenatcheeWildHockey.com. Right when you log in, there'll be a little pop-up screen, and you can click on that, and it'll take you to the page, and it'll explain in detail all the various packages. And you know, they're not huge packages. Some of them are just like a little 4-pack, so someone can bring the family, you know, the wife and kids, or a couple of buddies from work, or softball team, or whatever. And you know, that's really, I mean, I say it on the broadcast a lot, but the best way to enjoy Wenatchee Wild hockey is to do it in a group. Get a bunch of you together. It's cheaper. The tickets are cheaper. And it's always more fun when you can, did you see that? You know, you get that going. Instead of like sitting there going, I don't know you, but high five.
One more item of business with Arch Ecker while I have him here. The 3 promotions I like the best is the Pink at the Rink, which I love. It's one of my favorites. When you bring in law enforcement and the firefighters for that night.
Yep, guns and
hoses. But my favorite, I think, is the teddy bear toss, and that's right around the corner. That's like
it is coming
next
quick.
week, isn't it, or something like that? When is the teddy bear toss?
Friday the 13th.
Okay.
And we got the salmon arm silverbacks coming in. Teddy bear toss sponsored by Fred Meyer. By the way, tonight's game sponsored by Washington Health Plan Benefits.
Okay.
I had to throw that in there.
Yes.
Teddy bear toss. Yeah, golly. You know what? That first year, We didn't score a goal the whole time. And it wasn't the funny thing, like it wasn't even a league game. We had, because of the way the schedule worked out and with the building not being quite ready yet, and then they finally got it ready. So we played the NORPAC All-Stars, right, which was actually a level below. But because we were not really, we didn't really have our sea legs yet, right? I mean, expansion, franchise, all that. And we got shut out. So end of the game, that's when we collected the Bears. But Operation Santa Claus is behind that. Fred Meyer is the sponsor. But yeah, it's a great moment. Everybody looks forward to it. There's a lot of pride for the players on who's going to get the first goal that will launch the cavalcade of Bears. And it was interesting. So Mike Coyne scored. He was a captain one year, and he scored one year. And next year he was a captain and scored again. And then right after that, A.J. Vanderbeck scored, and the following year became the captain and scored again. Now, that won't continue because last year it was Brandon Cook, and he's off to Air Force Academy now. So I don't know if they do a teddy bear toss at the Air Force Academy, but I don't know.
My favorite was a couple of years ago. I was up there with Arch in the Crow's Nest, and goal scores, here come the teddy bears. And they had a couple of just huge teddy bears. And they kept hitting the backside of the glass and coming down. And who are the two guys who sit in the very center of the ice who the officials communicate with?
Well, actually, one of them's Clarkie's dad.
Okay, and
Jim Clark.
With their official title, what do they do when they're like this?
Well, the timekeeper and official scorer.
And the official score. And they're getting buried in these teddy bears because people are tossing these teddy bears. They're hitting the backside of the glass, and Clarkie's dad, and they're just getting buried in teddy bears.
And Howard Perryman is the other guy.
Okay.
And you know what? those are two great guys.
Yeah.
The unbelievable guys. And that's one of the things we're very, very blessed with in our organization. That whole crew of what we call off-ice officials, they're top shelf. I mean, they're volunteers. They show up every night. They're professional, and they do their job with a great amount of pride, and we're very blessed to have them.
Well, and I want to single out one guy specifically, Lonnie Howard, my good friend. Wenatchee High School class of '83.
And his wife, Susie.
Yes, great people. Welcome back to town, Sam Morton. Again, the Penticton Vees are in town tonight. Bucka, how's the song go again?
Bucka, beer, and dollar dogs, doo-dah. Oh, and for your group tickets, call Momo, because she's the one, she told me to say that.
Okay.
Morgan.
It's always good
888-7825.
It's always good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and don't be a stranger. We'll see you soon.
I can't help but be stranger than you.
Arch Ecker, everybody, give him a big hand, making his very first appearance.
First ever.
I'll Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Why run all over town when you can get the financial services you need under one roof? The location is 521 Chelan Street right here in Wenatchee. Accounting solutions for success. Insurance from trusted choices. Real estate, the power of the edge. Personal, professional, preferable. It's all right here. Get the edge on your financial needs. Now available in Chelan as well. Get more information at augustedge.com.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks, so bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
And we are back. Let's wrap up this award-winning program. And it is an award-winning program. I just printed me up a certificate on my computer. Let's take a look at the weather forecast one more time. So we're looking at, well, clouds. Yeah, clouds and clouds and more clouds, as you can see. Gradual warming trend. We'll top off at about 34 degrees. We have a continuing chance, just a slight chance, like between 10 and 20% chance of some light precipitation off and on throughout the course of this forecast period until we get to Sunday afternoon. Also, in the early morning hours, we'll have some foggy skies and even some freezing fog. But outside of that, sun's going to be taking the rest of the week off, and really for most of the weekend. By Sunday afternoon, we'll have a few sun breaks, quite a bit of sunshine on Monday and Tuesday. But for the most part, kind of cloudy. Temperatures very steady, very little temperature variation at all. Typical December weather. By the way, the passes are fine. No advisories, no restrictions on any of the major mountain passes. Have yourself a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.